You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Welcome back. Looking through all this material you sent over, it's all about design, platforms, AI. It really feels like a perfect fit for what we sometimes call our Product Thursdays here on The Vocal Technologist.
Yeah, definitely has that vibe.
We're not just looking at, what's new, but how the actual job of being a designer is shifting fundamentally in 2025.
That's exactly the mission today. We have to be kind of surgical, I think. We've got these updates from the big players, Apple, Google, showing how fast they're tweaking their look based on, well, what users are saying.
Right.
But at the same time, we have to look at how AI agents are popping up, creating these new tools that honestly either crash and burn spectacularly, or maybe even make the visual interface kind of obsolete.
So the goal is finding the really important implications hidden in all these announcements.
Precisely. Find the meaning in the momentum.
Okay. So we'll dig into Apple's surprising U-turn on that superfluid liquid glass look, tackle that, frankly, staggering 95% failure rate for enterprise AI pilots.
Yeah, that number is something else.
And then wrap up by talking about those maybe 3 core human skills, the ones AI really can't automate that are becoming absolutely critical for creatives right now. Sound good?
Let's do it. Aesthetics first.
Yeah, let's start with Apple. Their new interface, liquid glass, big launch across iOS 26, iPadOS 26, macOS 26. It's this incredibly transparent, almost watery design. Looked amazing, but controversy hit fast.
It really did. It's a perfect example of, visual coolness bumping right up against basic usability. That high transparency, yeah, it looks sleek, but it made reading text pretty difficult for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
Especially people with certain accessibility needs.
And what's interesting is how fast Apple reacted, or at least offered a way out. iOS 26.1 Beta 4 rolls out, and suddenly there's a tinted option.
Right, tucked away under display and brightness or appearance.
Yeah, you find it there, and it basically just makes that glass less see-through, more opaque, more contrast.
Which is the key point. This wasn't just them saying, oh, maybe we'll offer another style. This was driven hard by accessibility advocates. It shows that when a cool new look gets in the way of universal access, the design has to bend.
And it applies everywhere, right?
Yeah.
System-wide, even in third-party apps.
Exactly, enforcing that legibility across the board. It's a good lesson.
Okay, so meanwhile, on the other side of the fence, Google's making its own moves. The Play Store is getting the Material 3 Expressive design treatment. This feels like more than just a quick visual refresh.
Oh, absolutely strategic. Material 3 Expressive, it's all about bolder colors, much more fluid animations, layouts that really adapt. The whole point is making the Play Store feel more dynamic, less like just a, boring list of apps.
Ah, I see. So with everyone competing for attention, rivals like Samsung improving their One UI 7, Google needs a way to keep people engaged, help them find stuff. The design itself becomes the weapon, almost.
That's it. Design is product identity now. And you see the market responding to that coherence, that polish. Remember when Microsoft's Office icons got all that praise, even from Apple fans? Because they felt fluid and modern?
Yeah, that was unexpected.
It just shows even the giants have to keep refining their look. But I think there's another layer here, a sort of meta reason for these strong visual identities.
Okay.
It's about fighting off the, let's call it AI visual sludge. As generative AI gets easier for making app screens and stuff, there's a real risk everything starts looking the same, generic.
Huh. Interesting.
So Google and Apple, they need to keep pushing their own signature styles, Material 3, liquid glass, to make sure their platforms feel unique, memorable, something AI can't just instantly copy or cheapen.
Gotcha. Fighting the generic future with proprietary craft.
Okay, let's pivot from the interfaces we touch daily to the intelligence behind them, because AI and design, it's like 2 totally different stories playing out. Let's start with the idealized version, Adobe AI Foundry. Right, Foundry is kind of the high-end, super controlled way generative AI is being used. This isn't about using some off-the-shelf tool. Adobe is literally building custom AI models for big companies.
And what's the big deal there? What makes it different?
The training data. That's the key. These models are trained only on the company's own branding, their own intellectual property, their own assets. And because it's built on Firefly, they're guaranteeing it's all licensed data.
Okay, so brands can generate tons of personalized images, videos, even 3D stuff, knowing it's legally safe and looks like them.
Exactly. And the idea is the human creative is still steering it, guiding the output, but the scale just explodes.
That does sound pretty good, but then the reality check. That statistic about enterprise AI pilots failing 95% of the time, 95%, that's brutal.
It's devastating. It means almost every shiny new AI tool a company tries out gets dropped within months. And it's usually not because the AI isn't powerful enough.
It's the usability, right? The tools are built by engineers focused on what the tech can do, not how people actually work.
Precisely. They build these incredibly powerful things that demand people completely change how they do their jobs, mess up workflows they've used for years, and people just say,
They won't adopt it.
exactly. The product dies because the design ignored the human element. The solution, though, is pretty straightforward. Get actual users, people who live that workflow every day, onto the product teams from the very beginning.
So you design the tech to fit the existing habits, not bulldoze them.
Make the tech serve the user, not the other way around. Minimal behavioral change.
That shift in thinking, it flows right into this idea some people are calling the end of the user interface.
Yeah.
Moving away from clicking pixels towards just telling a machine what you want.
That's the AI agent model. The whole focus of design shifts. It's less about arranging buttons and menus perfectly and more about designing systems of, well, trust, transparency, how the conversation flows.
Designing the dialogue itself.
Yeah, dialogue modeling. The visual interface starts to fade into the background.
And the big example is something like ChatGPT Atlas, this new browser concept where ChatGPT has memory, it has an agent mode.
Right, so you're not clicking through 5 screens to order something. You just ask the agent, hey, order my usual pizza, and it figures out the steps and does it.
Completely reframes what design even means in that context. And this whole delegation thing, it brings up that core tension, especially in AI coding tools. That UC San Diego research mapped it out, didn't they? Across autocomplete, chat, and full agents.
They did. It's a bit academic, but the core tension they identified really matters for users.
Okay, boil it down for us. What's the key takeaway?
It's always this trade-off between speed and supervision. How much raw speed and, polish output convenience are you willing to get versus how much control, explanation, and ability to oversee things do you need?
And usually the commercial products lean towards speed.
Generally, yeah. Speed and polish win in the market.
Yeah.
But then you see tools emerging like Bubble AI agent. They're trying to find a middle ground. By mixing conversational AI, talking to the AI to generate code with a visual drag-and-drop interface. So you still see what's being built.
And they probably have to do that because of the risk, right? If you just let the AI write code behind the scenes, I saw that survey, 72% of users worried about security flaws in AI-generated code.
Exactly. You need that visual layer, that control, to feel confident the agent didn't just create a security hole while you weren't looking. It's about managing that risk.
Which brings us perfectly to the human side of things. If we're delegating more, relying on these agents, our whole psychological relationship with tech changes. You can't really trust an AI like you trust a person.
You really can't. Human trust is built on empathy, shared values, moral understanding. AI trust is, well, it's purely about function. Does it work? Is it predictable? So designers shouldn't aim for trust in the human sense. They need to design for reliance.
Okay, reliance. What does that involve? What are the ingredients?
It comes down to a few key things. Predictability. Does it do what you expect? Transparency. Is it clear how it works and what data it's using? Controllability. Can you steer it and correct it? And consistent performance. Does it work reliably over time?
And crucially, admitting errors and allowing human override.
Absolutely critical. It needs to explain its reasoning, flag uncertainty, say, I messed up, and always, always let the human take back the wheel. That makes it a tool you can rely on, not a black box you just hope works.
Okay, switching gears slightly, but still on the human element, this time within teams. There's this huge hidden problem, the illusion of alignment.
Where
everyone in the meeting is nodding, using the same words. Yeah, we're aligned on the strategy, but in their heads, they're picturing totally different things.
It's one of the biggest, quietest drains on resources in product development. You think you all agreed on, say, a new onboarding flow. 6 weeks later, engineering's built half of it, and you realize your idea of step 3 was completely different from the designer's, which was different again from marketing's view. Huge waste of time and effort.
Can you give a quick example? Like, what does that look like in the room?
It's the difference between everyone agreeing, we need a personalized recommendation engine. Okay, great, very abstract. Versus someone grabbing a marker and sketching, okay, the recommendations appear here, here, and maybe here on the main screen.
Just a rough sketch.
Exactly. The solution is almost laughably low-tech. Designers have this amazing skill. Visual thinking. Use it. Rough sketches. Simple wireframes. Put them up early in strategy sessions.
So a 5-minute drawing on a whiteboard could literally save weeks or months of wasted engineering effort down the line.
Without a doubt. Because the sketch forces those fuzzy, hidden, misaligned assumptions out into the open immediately. It's visual confrontation, but in a good way. It clarifies things before costly mistakes are made.
Sketching saves the day. But okay, we still have that big question looming. If AI can churn out 1,000 logo options or UI variations in seconds, why do we still need human craft? That slow, deep, sometimes painstaking process of design, does it still matter?
It matters more than ever, because AI generates output, but humans generate meaning. AI doesn't have cultural context, doesn't have empathy. It can't do that deep strategic listening required to build a brand identity that actually resonates, especially for complex things like nonprofits or industries with heavy regulation.
So craft brings the authenticity, the consistency,
Yeah,
the soul, maybe.
precisely. It ensures that design isn't just generic, homogenized pixels that could belong to anyone. It creates something with lasting impact because it's rooted in genuine understanding. Without craft, everything risks becoming bland.
And that craft isn't just visual, right? Especially now with conversational AI, UX writing is critical.
Inseparable from design now. The framework writers need to think in is it usable? Is it useful? Is it responsible? We're talking about things like error messages. A good error message doesn't just say error. It helps prevent the error, explains why it happened, and guides the user to fix it.
The words themselves shape the whole experience.
Just as much as the layout or the colors.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Okay, finally, we have to touch on the human cost of all this speed, this acceleration. You mentioned a creative burnout crisis.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's changed. It's not just about being tired anymore.
It really seems to have morphed. The burnout we're seeing now, it's often less about pure exhaustion and more about a loss of curiosity, a loss of purpose.
Driven by the AI pace.
Often, yeah. The pressure for constant rapid output, sometimes fueled by AI tools, can make creatives feel like they're just, operators pushing buttons, not actually solving meaningful problems. The spark fades.
So what's the defense? How do creatives protect themselves?
Well, part of it needs to be structural management needs to foster realistic workloads. But for individuals, it's about setting boundaries, definitely.
Yeah.
Diversifying the kind of work they do. So it's not all just feeding the generative machine.
Yeah.
And maybe most importantly, fiercely protecting their curiosity.
Curiosity as the core asset.
It is. If you lose your curiosity, your desire to explore and understand, you've lost the engine of creativity. You have to guard that.
Wow. Okay, so we started this whole conversation with Apple users pushing back, demanding a way to make liquid glass more usable, more accessible, serving individual human needs.
Right, the tinted option.
And we've ended up talking about this relentless drive for efficiency with AI agents, custom Adobe models, this push for automation.
It's the central paradox, isn't it? We're building systems for maximum speed, maximum convenience, maximum delegation, while simultaneously realizing we desperately need systems that allow for nuance, individual control, and deep human judgment.
So the competition isn't just Apple versus Google anymore.
I don't think so. I think the real competition now is between systems designed primarily for synthetic interaction, fast, efficient, automated, and systems designed deliberately for human interaction, nuanced, controllable, maybe even a bit slower, but more meaningful.
So as you, the listener, head back to your own work, what's the final thought here?
Maybe it's this. If the main conversation around AI is shifting away from fearing what it might do to us, towards just fearing missing out on its benefits, prioritizing that speed and convenience above all else, then we have to ask, what crucial human skills are we risking letting atrophy? Things like deep judgment, patient craft, strategic curiosity.
Skills that might feel inefficient in the short term.
Exactly. And maybe the bigger design challenge isn't just making things faster, but how do we design systems that actually encourage us to struggle a bit, to learn, to engage deeply? Because that friction, that effort, is often where real discovery happens. How do we avoid simply bypassing the very process that makes us better thinkers and creators? That's something to really mull over.
Spoken Tech for your ears.